suicide Hamas.
When the Oslo Agreement is signed, most Palestinians said, let's give this a chance. But there was that core constituency among Palestinians who said, the peace process is a sham, it can never succeed, only armed struggle can liberate Palestine, and Hamas became the embodiment of that sentiment.
Hamas's founding declaration called for the destruction of Israel and condemned all attempts at negotiation.
It was another test for the already strained Middle East peace process.
Their increasingly brazen attacks would fuel Israeli opposition to the peace talks and the rise of Benjamin Netanyahu.
Arafat is a very weak reed indeed. He gives cover to the Hamas, he makes a pretense of fighting them, but effectively allows them to attack us with impunity.
Hamas protest reinforced opposition to the accord from right-wing groups.
Netanyahu's opposition movement reached a fever pitch in October 1995, when tens of thousands crammed into the center of Jerusalem. From a balcony overlooking Zion Square, he addressed the crowd. The crowd was with him as he attacked Yasser Arafat. And then the government of Yitzhak Rabin.
There's a really ugly character to it. The level of vitriol, the anger, the scope of these demonstrations, the kind of incitement, the portrayal of Rabin, addressing Rabin in Nazi uniforms or putting a keffiyeh on him.
There were moments when Netanyahu was advised that,
Alex Gibney, thank you very much for doing this. So for all the years that Benjamin Netanyahu has been in the American media, I think there's very little sense in the U.S. about his domestic troubles in Israel. We keep hearing he's been charged, and the President of the United States keeps saying he needs to be pardoned. You've made this documentary that explains what is at the core of this controversy. Like, what are the charges? What is he accused of doing? Did he do it? So I'm going to stand back and just let you, if you would, outline what Benjamin Netanyahu has been accused of doing.
Well, roughly speaking, you'd say it was bribery, or you'd say it was corruption. I mean, and I can detail the charges. This is a film that I produced, and it was directed by Alexis Bloom. And back in 2023, I got a strange message on Signal from somebody who said that they had all of the police interrogation videos from the Benjamin Netanyahu investigation. And they had been investigating Netanyahu since 2016 for charges of corruption, that is to say, trading on his position as prime minister to get money in all sorts of favors, jewelry for his wife, very expensive Cuban cigars, hundreds of millions of dollars in forgiveness of certain loans in order to be able to get favorable coverage on a news website called Walla. So it was a pretty interesting case, and it went from the very small, meaning very expensive Cuban cigars from a rather famous movie producer named Arnon Milchan, to something very big, which is effectively a $250 million financial arrangement in exchange for coverage, good coverage for Netanyahu. So it was a pretty big deal.
What did so you got the tapes? Where? Let me just ask, to the extent you can say, where did they come from?
I can't say where they came from.
Jerusalem, January the 24th, 2024. Israel has been at war in Gaza for 4 months.
5,000 Israelis, mostly settlers from the West Bank, are gathered for a big conference. On the rostrum are several members of the government. The two main figures are Itamar Ben-Gvir, Minister of National Security, and Bezalel Smotrich, Minister of Finance. The theme of the conference is recolonization of Gaza, almost 20 years after Israel left this territory.
ערב טוב. בלי התיישבות אין ביטחון, ובלי ביטחון בעוטף ישראל אין ביטחון בכל ישראל. עד לפני 3 שנים אמרתי בפעם המי יודע כמה שלעזה נצטרך לחזור ולכבוש עם הנצח, בעזרת השם ננצח. עלה נעלה וירשנו, כי יכול נוכל לה.